You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. Michael Lane claims he agreed to dog sit over the 4th of July weekend, but his good deed left him with a damaged door. Ashley Johnson admits his dog can get a little frantic when he hears fireworks, which is why he couldn't be left alone.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Lane versus Johnson. Mr. Lane, you are suing Mr. Johnson for $500 in property damages. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Mr. Johnson, you say Mr. Lane broke and breached the agreement, right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with you, Mr. Lane.
So I agreed to watch the defendant's dog, which I had gotten to know pretty well through some nice walks from my neighborhood, and agreed to watch him for a 3-day weekend. I did not know that he was going to be aggressive and absolutely go Cujo on my door and destroy it.
It's not the case, Your Honor. It's not the truth.
What is the truth?
The truth is that, you know, we had prearranged prior to, it was the 4th of July weekend, and we had an agreement that he was to look after Bruce, my dog, the pit bull, and we came into it knowing that he kind of gets a little frantic over the holidays, especially when it comes to fireworks. So I specifically made an agreement with Michael over there that he'd look after it. In fact, I brought over for the first time some CBD oil, and I gave him instructions that Michael agreed to. And would I have known that he would have left Bruce, I would never have gone to the trouble of bringing him over.
So, Mr. Lane, when Mr. Johnson asked you to watch the dog, right, how much were you paid?
Well, I was loving watching the dog. He did give me $500 for the 3 days, which was pretty nice.
$500 for 3 days of watching the dog?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
The problem came in that on 4th of July night, or actually afternoon, I'm a classical singer for a living, and I don't get a lot of work. And it's been a really, really hard time in the last few years. So I was offered a job to sing some patriotic songs at a party that day. I did go out and take that job during the day. I gave the dog the CBD oil. The dog was wrapped up and cozy and calm. And I had never seen any aggressive behavior from the dog before. So I went and took the job.
Coming up.
Was it understood, Mr. Johnson, that Mr. Lane was just like not supposed to leave the house for 3 days?
Absolutely. Otherwise, I would have taken it to the kennel.
Was it understood, Mr. Johnson, that Mr. Lane was just like not supposed to leave the house for 3 days?
Absolutely. Otherwise, I would have taken it to the kennel.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have got $500.
Exactly.
I'm still stuck on that.
Right? There you go. Right? Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Lane, your understanding was what? That you weren't confined to the house.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I couldn't leave, like, to go to the store or go for a couple of hours just for something. I had never seen behavior like that from the dog. And by the way, I'm not asking for this money for myself. My landlord is asking me for $700 to repair this door. I did not.
What damage to the door? What did the dog do?
Yeah, I've got a picture of that for you. There you are. Okay, you can take the whole thing. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm.
What did the dog do while you were gone, Mr. Lane?
Well, that's what he did to the door that I'm responsible for.
Scratched the door.
Yeah, and you know, there was some other stuff around, but I'm not worrying about that. Yeah, the door's pretty damaged, and I can't afford that right now.
Well, here's a big issue right here. I just have to come in. So I get back the Monday after the fact. Didn't know that Michael had taken this gig. So obviously when I arrived, he just happened to say that, by the way, I left for a gig. So, you know, on one hand, I was livid that my poor dog was left alone, which was the whole issue of taking it over to him. But beyond that, I'm a reasonable man. You know, I felt terrible what happened to the door, and I didn't leave it there. So in addition to the full $500 that I paid for his services, I gave him another $200. I got the evidence here. And what happened was...
So he had $700 for watching your dog for 3 days?
That's it.
Well,
yes,
I mean, but that just covers the repair to the door.
And we both agreed to that on the day.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
You gave him an extra $200.
Yeah.
And I see it here. You transferred the money and you sent the $500. So how much did you make on your singing job?
$400.
I've heard enough. Mr. Lane, listen. When you take on a responsibility, then you are obligated to perform that responsibility to the best of your ability. In this instance, I believe that the $400 you're still going to have even after you pay for the damage in your apartment is more than enough, considering you breached the duty of care that you owed to the dog based upon the agreement you made with Mr. Johnson. For that reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I apologize, for leaving him alone.
From my side, I'm sorry for the damage caused, but for me it was the principle of breaking the agreement.
Do you think he'll be able to watch the dog again?
Absolutely.